Sean Forrester. He is a retired manufacturing executive with over 14 years as an active Toastmaster. He is currently president of the Dunedin Toastmaster Club, as well as the chief educational ambassador for District 48. In a 5 to 7 minute speech this evening, Sean is going to talk about the importance of good public speaking. Please help me welcome our next presenter, and I believe a distinguished Toastmaster. Yes, he is. Mr. Sean Forrester, distinguished Toastmaster. Sean.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, Speechcraft students, and honored guests. The title of my speech this evening is Why Overcoming Glossophobia is Important. Now, who knows what this word glossophobia means? Anyone? Anyone? Oh, a couple of people do know. Glossophobia means the fear of public speaking. And it comes from two Greek words, sosa, which means the tongue, and phobos, which means fear. Fear of public speaking is part of a larger grouping called social anxiety disorder, or SAD, and it really is sad. And according to a recent Columbia University study, around 13% of the population throughout the world experiences the social anxiety phobia. Interestingly, more than half, or about 53% of it, is people experiencing this glossophobia, or fear of public speaking. And in America, that represents about 24 million people. Now, also in this Columbia University study, they took 3 negative impacts that they looked at and studied and calculated. The first was the impact of the fear of public speaking on wages. Now, do you know what the impact was? Anybody? Anybody? It had a negative impact of about 10%. That means people who have this glossophobia, fear of public speaking, have their wages repressed by about 10%. Now, the second thing they looked at was the fear of public speaking and its relationship to college graduation. Any idea what impact that might have had? Anyone? No? It was also 10%. That means that 10% of college graduates are not graduating because of their fear of public speaking. And the third negative impact they looked at was promotion to management and what effect it had having a fear of public speaking. And do you know what that figure was? Anyone? 10%? 10%? Nope, nope. It was actually 15%. So it had a negative impact on your ability to get promoted to management, if that's something that's in your career prospects, by 15%. Now, I have one more statistic that I want to share with you, and then I'll move on to more positive things. Do you know how many of these 24 million Americans who are afraid of public speaking actually do something about it? The answer is just 8%. So just 8% actually attack their fear of phobia and do something about it. And which organization is most noted for helping people with this glossophobia? Well, it's Toastmasters. We've been around for almost 100 years, and we're in 70% of the countries on this planet. And we believe that we've got a pretty good program that works pretty well and has shown success. So aside from these statistical things that I shared from the Columbia study, I want to share my personal experiences, sort of subjective reasons why it's important to overcome your fear of public speaking. And to do that, I want to use the tagline from the Toastmasters International website. The tagline is, "Where leaders are made." And it's interesting because that was changed not too long ago. And when it first came out, I looked at it and I thought, that's kind of puzzling. Because to me, Toastmasters has always taught public speaking and leadership skills, but it seemed like leadership skills felt like a secondary skill. Our primary focus was on public speaking. So I had to think about that a little bit, but it finally concluded to me, and here's my take on it. In order for you to be a good public leader, you have to be a good communicator. But in order to be a good communicator, you have to be a good personal leader. Let me repeat that. So if you want to be a good public leader, you have to be a good communicator. But if you want to be a good communicator, you have to be a good personal leader. Now let's break that down a little bit. My experience comes from 30 years of working in global manufacturing for very large companies and dealing with multiple people around the world. I had 74 different languages at one organization that I worked with. And in order to make sure I was a good leader, I had to make sure I had concise, clear communication to help the team to understand the vision and the mission. And when it was properly executed, what I found was the team worked better together to try to achieve what we set out to do. But in addition to that, I had to learn some skills to be able to personally lead myself as a communicator. I had to learn organizational skills and time management skills. I had to learn to research and find the available options and how to make good, strong decisions at a moment's notice when it was really important. So it's important that you learn skills to personally lead yourself to be a good communicator. And that really helped me to understand the intertwining of communication and leadership. Now, it's interesting that Toastmaster International discovered the same thing. And that's why we got this new education program called Pathways. We used to have a training program for communication and a training program for leadership. But now today in Pathways, both competencies are intertwined. You learn communication and leadership skills at the same time. And that's really important. So in summary, we defined our glossophobia and what that means. And I showed you some statistics, some negative impact to being a glossophobic. We looked at Toastmasters and how it addresses glossophobia and trying to overcome public speaking. And we looked at some of my experiences as a personal leader. Now, my definition of a leader has for many years been someone who takes people to places they wouldn't go by themselves. So as a leader, I ask you, if you consider yourself even just a tiny bit glossophobic, choose to be one of those 8% that does something to overcome it. It will be good for your overall development, your career promotability, and your wages. And most importantly, if you choose to do it with Toastmasters, you'll be able to have some fun along the way. Madam Toastmaster.